If you have crushing credit card debt, climbing out of it is hard, and you can become vulnerable to scammers who claim they want to help. Fox 5 team's Dana Fowl spoke with a hard-working woman who fixed her financial problems the right way. A success story.
Yes,
Dana.
This is a good news story.
Yes.
So we've had a spate of bad news, but this is a good news story. April's Financial Literacy Month, so it's a great time to tell this story of a local woman who got out from under credit card debt by asking for help. And when she did it, she put more than $50,000 behind her.
I was studying, getting a doctorate.
Her resume was looking solid, so she decided it was time to take a job leap. But it was a risky move, and the risk, well, it didn't pay off.
8 months later, we lost investor funding and I lost my jobs.
But her expenses kept going, even with the financial setback.
Daycare, tuition, meals, expenses related to a kid. So we're talking diapers, formula.
For 2 years, her debt kept piling up.
It was frustrating. I think honestly I had been working since the age of 14, even if it was a part-time job. I am one of those people who I enjoy work. And as things were getting tougher and I was looking at jobs, and honestly, in the job search back then, I was looking at taking a pretty significant pay cut just to get back into the workforce.
But what was certain was that she needed help climbing out of $56,000 in credit card debt. A friend told her about the nonprofit Money Management International Group. It's a debt counseling service.
Well, they put you in what they call a debt management plan. They reach out to your creditors and they negotiate the new rates and they work with you to establish a new payment.
Much lower interest rates that she said she could not have negotiated on her own.
I would highly recommend it to anybody else who is kind of tired of making those same payments and not seeing any reductions in the debt.
Tamara Alderete explains.
Where we work with creditors to lower interest rates, on average, it's about 6.7%. 6.4%, so that consumers can pay off debt typically within 3 to 5 years.
Be careful, though. Scammers offering similar services know that desperate people will pay for a money management miracle.
Anybody who's promising to increase your credit score, pay off your debt in a really short amount of time, that's going to be a red flag. Anybody who's promising to settle your debt or eliminate your debt for pennies on the dollar can sometimes be a red flag.
It took Tamara 5 years, which she said really seemed to fly by. Her payment was one lump sum. She says there were small transaction fees, but in the end, she saved money and she could finally sleep at night.
It is a long time, but it was just, again, a simple payment. It really, once I established everything, seemed pretty effortless.
Now, legitimate nonprofit groups aren't going to ask you for money up front. They're not going to make these big promises. They will remind you that it took years to accrue that debt. It's going to take years to get out of it. It's like weight loss. You didn't gain weight overnight.
Yep.
It takes a minute.
Makes sense. Okay, so what is it that's keeping people from getting help?
Embarrassment.
Okay.
People get embarrassed about it. And so the folks at Money Management International know that. So they have an online program where you don't have to meet anyone face to face if you're feeling too self-conscious about it. And I had someone in house ask me, doesn't this ding your credit? It can ding your credit at first, but you've got a long-term goal here. In the end, it brings your credit back up. So if you're not in the middle of buying a house or a car or needing a loan or that sort of thing, it is worth it on the front end to take the hit.
Well, chances are if you have that much credit card debt, a few points going down isn't going to hurt you even more because you've already taken a hit, from having that much debt.
Exactly.
So, good to know, though, that there's help and good to see a success story pulled herself out.
And I'm so happy that she came forward because it can be embarrassing to talk about these sorts of things. And if you don't think about everyone you know hasn't been in this predicament in some way or another, they have.
Very true.
We've talked about my Amex in college.
Dana learned a hard lesson.
I'm surprised that they let me back.
Oh, God.
But they did.
She's changed her ways, guys. She's changed her ways. She knows better. All right, Dana, thanks for the help and the tough lessons for us this morning.